This tank is 4 years old and looks as good today as it did when I set it up. The DD Reef Pro 900 is almost 4 years old, so I thought it'd be good to just do a review of the tank itself and the build, not necessarily the contents. So let's start with the cabinet. So first of all, this is a 3-foot tank by 2 foot front to back, and I think it's about 50 centimeters high there. And what I would say is it is a tall tank. Got a Red Sea Reefer 170 next to it, and as you can see, that is a higher cabinet. The display is higher on the 170, the Red Sea, but overall this is higher because of the cabinet. So I've had this nearly 4 years. It is pre-made in the factory, so it's made probably about 40 minutes away from me in sunny Essex in the UK. And I've got to say, because it's pre-built, like any furniture, if you get a piece of furniture that's built rather than flat packed, it's going to be better quality. It is gloss, so it does show up finger marks, but in terms of any marks on it, it is really hardy. I'm a messy reefer, and there is no damage to this tank whatsoever, whether it be water damage, scratches, or anything on the outside. So you cannot go wrong with this particular cabinet. It is really heavy, really well made, and I would recommend it. In terms of the display and the glass, nicely made glass, really nice finish with the silicone. I've managed to not nick any of it, so it's in really good condition. And what is different, on a Red Sea, you have the weir you see in the middle there. With the Reef Pro, it's really unassuming. So if you actually have a look there, you really can't make out the weir that much. But you can see it goes flat to there, and then an angle right to the back of the tank, and then you've got the weir comb on there. So it is very different to a Red Sea, and probably very different to most other tanks you'll see on the market, unless you get a custom built. Now, one thing I really like about this tank, the wave makers are at the other end, but I did have a Nero 3 that used to sit here, and of course you've got a wire on the inside. But if you look at the top here, you can put the wire up here and through there, and there's a hole at the bottom, so you can thread it through. So that's a really nice touch. But I've actually taken the Nero 3 off, and I've gone for 2 MP40s at the other end, and the wires are hanging down. I could have them hanging up and going across, but it doesn't really matter. You can't really see it. But it's a nice touch there. And I did have a Tunzi at this end up here, and I had the wire that go up, over out the water, go down the weir comb, across and down that area. So you could actually hide the wires really, really well. Now there's two downsides, I think, to this display. Number one, and if you've seen my earlier videos before, that looks ugly. That is the return nozzle. Now practically it's actually really, really good, because it's got a kind of duckbill there on it, so it really does throw out quite a lot of flow, and it throws it in between the 2 MP40s, so you've got good flow going in opposite direction of the power heads, but it just doesn't look very good. And then the other one is, if you go above the water, you can just see there is a gap, and this is the DD cover. There is a gap between the weir comb and the top, so you could, a fish, if you had wrasse, and I've lost a wrasse before and found it in the sump, I think it jumped through there. So as this is a DD cover and a DD tank, I really think they should have made the weir comb higher and going up to the top of the tank. So if you look, it actually finishes below the tank. Now I think that should go higher, right to the top of the tank, so it actually stops fish from potentially jumping. So that, I would say, is my only 2 gripes about this actual tank. So I think here's a display, really good quality build. Again, the glass looks really, really good, just as it did from day one. Now, if we go down to the sump area as well, the hinges, after 4 years, getting a little bit of rust on the hinges, but that's down to me. I should have put some grease on those hinges. All 4 of them just beginning to show a bit of wear, but that is preventable. What I would say about the sump area, one tip, if you wrap it in white, then what you can do, you can seal the crud that's in your sump. So I'm not fussed about that crud, because my nitrates are about 2 and my phosphates are about 0.06, and that's due to that. So it's the Clavacy, works really, really well in this tank. And the great thing is, because it's made by DD as well, it comes ready to fit. So when you've got your pipe work, you can see the grey pipe work there, that flows straight into the Clavacy. It hooks on, and that's it. It is plug and play. There's no cutting anything out. You tell them when you order that it's going to be for Clavacy rather than the filter socks, and they will do that, and it makes such a big difference. But in terms of the layout of the sump, it's really, really simple. You've got the reservoir there for the auto top off. I do like that. When I fill it up to the top, that lasts about a week, which to me is pretty good. And it's just so easy. You've got where the pipe work comes down. Yeah, I would replace that with, I can't remember the name of it, but it's hard to dial in. Once you dial in, it's okay, but it's really fiddly to try and adjust it. So the water comes down there, goes into the sump now. I used to have a refugium in here, and it is big enough for a refugium, haven't taken the light out. The problem with that light is you get some overspill, so you start getting algae growing onto the Clavacy, and it starts going onto your skimmer as well. But you know, with a Clavacy, you don't need a refugium, I would say. And then at the back chamber there, you've got your return chamber where your auto top off goes down into, and obviously your return pump. So really simple layout and a really simple sump. And there's plenty of room to put, you know, reactors in if you want to. Put a reactor in for maybe Rowaphos or a nitrate or carbon. So plenty of room. The only downside to this tank, you've got no dry area. So you've got a small area there. That's not really enough. And I just would not put plugs in a sump well with the water. I'd want a different area. So I've got this cabinet here from IKEA. But then, you know, you might as well have a 4-foot tank where you do get the dry area or the dry cabinet. But this tank was sufficient for me, and it's in the garage, so it doesn't make any difference because I've got plugs everywhere and it makes no difference. But you certainly wouldn't have that in, say, your living area. Now, another nice touch, most tanks come with a rubber mat at the bottom, but this has a lip along there. So if you spill any water, it doesn't spill onto the cabinetry or onto the floor. And especially when you're filling up this, quite often you can spill water onto this area, but it won't overspill onto there. So you keep it contained, it's easy to tidy up, to mop up. So I think it's a really, really nice touch. I prefer this to be slightly lighter so that when you put light in, it reflects better than the dark colour. But also, anything else, if you look at this here, this is all sealed. There's sealant all the way along here and up the top as well. You can just see it reflecting, which is really nice. And obviously you wouldn't get that on a flat packed cabinet. You'd have to do that yourself, which of course you can, but that just shows you the quality and the nice touches there, just to, I suppose, keep the dampness out of the wood, keeps it all sealed all the way along. So as I say, really nice finish. And then if you look on here, a nice finish to the tank. The sealant is all in really good condition. I haven't nicked any of the sealant, even though I use a flipper, and you can see the flipper there. I haven't nicked it at all. So it is possible, and it's fairly easy if you take care to not nick the sealant. And that's a really good quality build. So overall, I'm really, really happy with this tank, the tank build, and I think DD have done a fantastic job in creating a tank that is, cabinet is ready made. It's really heavy, but nothing wrong with that. that you don't have to worry about it bowing or anything else like that. It's got adjustable feet, so 4 feet on the 900, which is the 3 foot. I think it obviously comes with more feet, bigger the tank, and that allows you to get the tank to be level really easy and individual, because you might even have a piece of your floor that's not level, and it might be okay on 3 sides, and then how do you deal with that? That can be a real pain to do. So overall, really good, and I would recommend it. And it looks, if I stand here in a moment, it looks brand new. It really does. So really good finish. So any comments, please put in the box below. I'm on Instagram on Fish Palace if you want to message me, or leave a message on here if you've got any questions. But as usual, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.